Hi everybody, Mike Reese here, doing a martial arts chat. I didn't do 2 or 3 like I was supposed to last week, and that was mainly because I was so uninterested into it. It just didn't happen. I know a lot of people may not understand, but what happens is honestly, martial arts and within that whole community and stuff like that, it at times burns me out. And it's because of the fact that there's so much infighting and there's so much, I don't know, just so much like egos and just a lot of babies really supposed to be in this community of people that are supposed to be warriors. We're trying to learn how to, everyone's learning how to do something. I mean, we're trying to better ourselves in some fashion. We're trying to promote our discipline and honor and all that stuff. We don't have that anymore, in my opinion. And a good example of that is the crazy junk I keep seeing. And a friend of mine, Mike Morales, just shared this on his Facebook page, and so I had to click on it because it was kind of like, because the title of it was, "Did you get your black belt in Kmart?" I'm going to put the link below so everybody can kind of look at what I was talking about. And besides the comical and one of the funny things was it was every time they got up to spar, it would be to the music of Street Fighter, and at the end they have a nice little fireball graphic going on. So it was just kind of funny, and it was because we're looking at a gym full of black belts. I think even the description, it said, "This is an actual test with black belts, nothing but black belts here, and it's a black belt test. I'm no longer scared of black belts." And I went, after I watched the video, I went, yeah, neither am I. Now, to me, some say, well, this is just a handful of things. And this is not, in my opinion, this is not the handful of schools. This is the majority of things nowadays. Someone's just out there and they're teaching, and people are learning things, and they're spending years learning really bad things. Their technique is bad, their balance is bad, everything that they're doing, from framing, from postures, from proper technique and how to kick, how to punch, how to spar, how to do they are wrong. Bad stuff. And people wonder why martial arts can burn me out. And this is why. Because continually bad things can get out there and have numerous amounts of people gathered in there. And this guy is probably making a living off of this. But people like myself and a few friends of mine that we were trying to build businesses, or we didn't do really well, and it's mainly because people didn't see the little fancy trophies or the BS type of things that are in some of these schools. And I'm telling you, when you actually do an actual combative form of what martial arts is supposed to be, which is actually combat, amazingly, people get turned off. Because why? It looks too violent. Well, it's a violent thing. It's about violence, for crying out loud, okay? I mean, we're trying to give people the skills and abilities to perform violence. Whether you're defending yourself or not, you can call it whatever you want. It's a violent act against a person. You are committing violence to someone else. Plain and simple. I don't care how you dress it up. I don't care if you say it's self-defense. I don't care if you say it's self-protection. I don't care what you say. It's violence. Okay? And if you say, well, that's not what it is to me, then why are you doing this? Take up knitting or crocheting or something, I mean, go over and make me a poncho, but don't insult me with this half-hearted attempt at something that I consider something that's supposed to be, for combat. Especially since, the whole term behind it is, martial, which is military, war, whatever you want to do. You want to get into the whole thing. If you want to get into Latin terms, whatever you want to talk about. But the fact of the matter is, if you just put martial law in a town, that's military law. So martial arts is a military art. Now anymore, people are just getting more artsy and fartsy than they are getting martial with what they're doing. And anymore, I think people just need to take the art out. they should say, or they should take the martial out and say mockery art of combat. Truthfully. Or sport combat. Combat sport. That's all they should say. Combat sporting. And if that's the case, then that would be awesome. I would say yes, that's a combat sport. No, it's not military. So it's not martial. I'm very literal. Yeah, sometimes there's a literal term for me. I'm sorry about that, but to me, give me a break. And trust me, once you watch this video, it's ridiculous. I sit there, I see just bad form, bad teaching, it's just bad. And it's like, sad part is you know that this is a culmination of a bunch. And some people are going to say, well, there's some stuff that's good. And yeah, well, trust me, some have fallen on their face. It's just, well, it's the gym floor. Well, then maybe you should wear shoes and not bare feet. I don't know, dude. Once you watch the video, you can comment below, or you can tweet me at TFS Michael Reese, and you can send me some whatever wackadoodle thing you want to talk about when it comes to this. But the fact of the matter is it completely shows why I am burnt on the martial arts community. There's very few people out there that are talking about anything worthwhile. And the sad part is those are the people that are having the hardest times getting their schools successfully built into this, into this huge thing. Don't come to me with JKD or anything like that, because honestly, really? You're just going to throw the Jeet Kune Do thing out there? Because in all honesty, the majority of Jeet Kune Do is Fancy Kali with Wing Chun. And is that really Jeet Kune Do? No. The only one that really knows what that was is Bruce Lee, and he's gone. You can say anything you want, you can talk about it all you want, but I know people that were part of the associations. I know some stuff that's on the inside of all that, and the fact is, there's a lot of stuff out there that's just poor. Now, there's some people out there that were just awesome, but they've gone to the side, and now it's become this big business. And I mean business. It just stinks. And I'm not saying that these guys don't have a skill set. I'm not even saying that it's poor. But eventually, they're watering it down just as bad as any other commercial business. And I think that's my issue. No one has to test out anything. Everyone's just under the assumption that they're good enough. And then they say, well, how do you test it out? Well, no-holds-barred competitions, since they're illegal, are really hard to do. Kali guys would be really really hard to test out. Why? Because you either have to do stuff like the Dog Brothers martial arts type tournaments that they do, which is not for points. It's just to see if you can, testing your skill. Or you go to the Philippines and just, deal with it the way they do it. Or you get into a fight, and so basically not even a no-holds-barred tournament would be good for a Kali person, because they deal with weapons more. Anybody that's weapon-orientated, they're probably never really going to test out their actual metal. They're never going to really test the actual skill in the fullest of the entirety of what it is, because they're going to have to do something where they have to dull it down. Like me, I'd love to see a guy that does Kenjutsu go in, or Kendo, and go into a tournament of a Kali tournament like the Dog Brothers things, and see what he can do against them. Because in more likelihood, he's not going to be using his sword against just anybody. He's going to use some psycho knife-wielding guy. And if you're awesome, man, you might be able to do some awesome damage in that whole thing. I just like to see it. You can hone your skill all day long, but you're never really going to know what you can do until you pressure test yourself. And that goes with experience and life and all that stuff. Not everybody's going to get in a fight. Not everybody's going to be able to do this stuff. So how do you know you're ever going to work? And unless you're pressure testing in your school, like basically setting up the proper scenarios and actually getting things to happen in your, giving that resistance, whether it's you escalate it or not, doesn't matter. The only way you're going to actually do this is if you test your students inside your own school. That means you're going to have to just make them uncomfortable every now and then. Was I really the most popular person when it came to the training? No. Sometimes my students hated the training because it sucked. They got hit, they got hurt, they got, and it wasn't on purpose. It's just it happens when you get into that kind of a test. You know, you're afraid because you have to go up against a bigger opponent. You might have to take on two, three guys. Oh my goodness! And you're a woman. Oh no! Well, guess what? When they do well, and the guys hate it because those girls are going right for the groin or biting them on the neck, or or at least simulating it, or headbutting them in the head, right in the eye socket. Jamming their head in and making them cry. That kind of stuff, and it makes them uncomfortable. It makes everybody uncomfortable. The fact is, though, these are the situations they're going to have to be put in if they're actually attacked. And if they're never going to, if they ever are, and anymore, it's more of a matter of when, not if, because the increase of criminal activity and increase of basically the decrease of moral aptitude and ethics and the increase of actual criminal activity, well, I think we should probably look at the fact that it's more of a when. It's when it happens, not if it happens. And some people, that's why there's all these people that are shocked when things happen to them. Oh man, I never thought it would happen to me. Well, that's because you weren't planning straight. And the fact is, I'm not talking about fear. I'm not talking about being paranoid. I'm talking about being prepared. You have to just train properly, train correctly. How do you train correctly? By pushing yourself to the limit. You have to try to get yourself out of your comfort zone. Wearing pajamas and bare feet on a nice matted floor is good for a little while, but eventually you're gonna have to just push yourself to do a little bit more. Because eventually you realize that all those skills are probably for crap. And it's because some guy's going to mess with you and he's just going to punch you out. So, you either start understanding that you're doing something in a violent aptitude and you're not doing something to just kind of throw your hands out and, sloppily throw junk out there. Give me a break. It's stupid. When you look ridiculous, you make everyone look ridiculous. You know why? Because the rest of the actual public, the people who are not hobbyists, the people who are not even into martial arts, the people who watch this because they just happen to cross it, the vast majority of people are ignorant to the martial arts, and what they're going to do is they're going to judge every martial art from that perspective of the dumb tomfoolery, of the garbage that's out there that looks horrible. And of course, we help the whole matter, right? When we sit there and we view it over and over, and then we share the bad videos with everybody, and then just say, hey, watch this. And then what happens is the whole public get a hold of it, and then they get to see it, and then that has millions of views on the crappiest stuff ever. And what does that do? That makes the boxers laugh, makes the MMA fighters say, see, that's what traditional stuff is all about. It makes all these guys who are bar fighters go, see, those black belt guys, I'll lay those guys out. I mean, it just does not prove the point that we're supposed to be a bit better than that. Where is the pushing ourselves to the limits? Where's the making us better fighters? Where's the making us a little more elite than the other person? Because that's what we're supposed to be doing. So, all this just makes me burnt on the martial arts community. Because in all seriousness, I don't believe anyone takes it seriously anymore. I don't think anyone really cares anymore. And I think it's just now for the man to make some money, earn what they can, and some people to flaunt the things that they think they know, or maybe they do know, but they just want to flaunt it out there, and now they're charging, $1,500 just so that you can spend an hour of your time with them. Woo! Give me a break. You are a human being. I don't need you that bad. I made it this far without your knowledge. I can make it to the end of my days without it. So, give me a break. I think it's time for everybody to step down off their I'm the total baddest dude in the galaxy pedestal and just come down a few notches and say, you're not as bad as you think you are. And really, honestly, no one really cares. No one cares. And all these guys that are out there throwing these stupid, and some people, and that people that are teaching these bad things, you are wrong. I don't care what anyone says. You guys can slander, you guys can slam me for the fact that I said it, but you know what? If you're teaching crap, you're injuring these people. You're not helping them. You're making it worse. You're making it worse for every martial artist out there, and you probably don't care because you're making your money. So honestly, all I can say is, honestly, for martial arts chat, I don't know when the next time I'm going to be on because I am burnt out. This community is full of idiots, full of people that are ignorant, and people that just have no clue or no care or concern because you're egotistical and you're all beyond, for me, it's beyond me how in the world that it's gotten so out of control. And I think it's because of the lack of care, the lack of concern, the increase in ego, and the fact is plainly there's too many commercialized pieces of garbage out there that are selling off belts and not earning them. Okay? That's me. So, comment if you want. I don't care. I'll look at them and I will be paying attention to it, but we'll see. Like I said, I don't know when I'll be back because I'm martial arts community, dude. I'm done. I'm just as done as I can be with y'all. You guys, yeah, forget it. All right, late.